Hello everyone, Star Flag Media, and welcome to part 5 of our Nintendo Gamecube collection guide and review. I hope you're ready for some killer games in this next part of our series. Well, let's get right to it. Pikmin 2 expands on the gameplay introduced in its predecessor. The player controls both Captain Olimar and Louie from a third-person microscopic perspective to retrieve treasures, which consists of human waste such as scrap metal and broken toys, from the surface of an unknown planet called the Distant Planet. The gameplay focuses on leading and directing a horde of plant-like creatures called Pikmin to accomplish this mission. The Pikmin follow behind Olimar and or Louie as they move around the field. The player can quickly throw individual Pikmin at enemies and obstacles where they automatically engage in combat, destroying obstacles or building bridges. Pikmin 2 was a wonderful follow-up, expanded on the visuals and even further gameplay, and is another 9 out of 10. PK Out of the Shadows, known as Donald Duck PK in Europe, is a 2002 action-adventure game. Donald Duck works as a security guard in the Duck Tower as he falls asleep and starts dreaming of Daisy Duck, and teasing him. He wishes he was a superhero, an artificial intelligence known as Technology, to help. He was given future technology.
Oh no, PK! It looks like the Avronians have captured some scientists and are holding them hostage. You're going to have to find the hostages and free them from these Avronian savages. You need to save as many as you can. They should be able to help you reach the Avronian mothership.
Platformer with some level design really use some work. I did enjoy the art style and the voice acting, however, which seemed to really capture that magic. Pokemon Colosseum is a 3D role-playing game, viewed from a third-person perspective, exclusively on the Nintendo Gamecube. The player controls a Pokemon trainer named Wes, moves through various towns and other locations, traversed using a type of one-wheeled motorcycle, battling enemies, trainers, and completing quests. Items are purchased at the Pokemon Mart, locations using the game's currency Pokemon Dollars, and when a battle starts, the screen switches to a turn-based interface where the players and enemies, Pokemon, fight each other. Most battles are the double battle format, which means 2 Pokemon on each side at one time. However, each trainer can carry up to 6 Pokemon at one time. So once a Pokemon is defeated, his or her trainer must switch out another one unless no more are left. Battles are also conducted at the Colosseums in several cities. Pokemon Colosseum is an 8 out of 10. Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness is a follow-up to Pokemon Colosseum. The main focus of this game, like its predecessor, is to capture shadow Pokemon and fight them, and also file up their information in the Pokédex. This game garnered some mixed to positive reviews amongst critics, with common criticisms being directed at similarities and to have reused its assets from Colosseum. Commercially, Pokemon XD was a success, and it still sold more than 1 million copies since its release. It is an okay game. I disliked the idea of catching these shadow Pokemon, because most of the time it was just difficult to control or you wouldn't listen. It just wasn't my cup of tea as far as Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness gets a 6 out of 10. Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time is an action-adventure puzzle platformer. The player controls the main protagonist, an unnamed prince from a kingdom in Persia. Environments are seen through a controllable third-person view. The camera views changes different positions triggered by entering certain areas or performing actions. The prince can be moved in all directions, and he is able to manipulate large targets such as blocks and levers connected to mechanisms, and this allows him to traverse. This game, you can clearly see with the platforming, the building blocks of what later was to become the Assassin's Creed series, and in particular, Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remains my all-time favorite Prince of Persia game. To me, this game is a solid 9 out of 10.
That their king might say to them, as Khosrow said to Rustam, "You are the noblest of my warriors." From the moment my sword tasted blood, I knew this would not be my way. I would win my father.
Prince of Persia: Warrior Within was the sequel to Sands of Time. This time Ubisoft decided that they wanted the game to be M-rated. I'm guessing to compete with other games like God of War, maybe. Upon release it was still well received, but in my opinion, making it M-rated really took away from some of the magic that the first game had. I did, however, still enjoy this game. It was a solid platformer. The soundtrack was heavy metal. It was really violent, and overall, just a great 3D platformer, but just shy of the first installment for me. Prince of Persia: Warrior Within gets a 7 out of 10. Well, that brings us to halfway point on this list. Let's wrap it up with the next Prince of Persia, and the last one for that matter, and then let us know what you think are the best games so far. Prince of Persia: The Two Thrones is the final chapter of the Sands of Time trilogy, but it is not the last game to be set in this continuity. The story follows the prince as he returns to his home in Babylon, only to find that his actions in Warrior Within have undone the events of the Sands of Time. The villainous vizier is back from the dead and kills the prince's companion Kalina, absorbing the Sands of Time from her, which transforms him into an immortal monster. Now, the prince must work together with his past love Farah, whom he meets for the first time in this new timeline, to defeat the Vizier once and for all, while also struggling against his own Dark Prince persona, which is slowly corrupting him. They later came out with a revised version for the Wii. Prince of Persia: Two Thrones is a 9 out of 10. R Racing Evolution is a spin-off of the Ridge Racer series, brought out on the Gamecube. If you bought the Gamecube version, it also came with a separate disc with Pac-Man Versus on it. R Racing Evolution is a racing game featuring over 33 licensed cars from various motorsports, and in-depth configuration options such as adjusting brakes, front-wheel stabilizers, and car weight. The game offers a story mode where the player follows the racing career of Renna, as she struggles to deal with the busy life of professional racer, car driving, and politics of the sport. The mode features 14 chapters in which the player earns new cars, RP points for new purchases, and view pre-rendered cutscenes preceding every chapter. Other modes include usual racing game fare such as single races, time attacks, and versus mode, and car customization. R Racing Evolution is a 7 out of 10. Resident Evil is the 2002 remake of the 1996 PlayStation game. This game featured brand new overhauled graphics that looked incredible on the Nintendo GameCube. It was originally released as a GameCube exclusive. This game was mind-blowing at the time, and I loved the new visuals. Of course, upon release, Resident Evil received acclaim from video game journalists who praised its new graphics, improved gameplay, and the overall of the original game. It is often described as one of the best, scariest, and more visually impressive entries in the Resident Evil series. Resident Evil 2002 Remake is a 9 out of 10. Resident Evil 0 is the prequel to the original Resident Evil game. This game was originally designed as a Nintendo 64 game in 1998, but pushed back to the GameCube. And what an amazing decision. Using the updated visuals, the GameCube version absolutely shines through and through. This survival horror game was one of the first times that I picked up a game knowing that I wouldn't finish it because, frankly, I don't like to get scared and pay for it. However, Resident Evil 0 received generally positive reviews across the boards and critical praise for its graphics and audio. Resident Evil 0 is an 8 out of 10. Resident Evil 4, designed as one of Capcom 5's exclusive GameCube games, was brought over as a franchise, probably the best version of the franchise, and it brought exclusively on the Nintendo GameCube originally. This game is the first one to really turn it into an action survivor horror game, with an over-the-shoulder camera view when you're shooting things. It completely changed the controls. The graphics were amazing for the time. If you had the Wii version that came out later on, you got pointer controls, which made the game even better. Resident Evil 4 is highly regarded as perhaps the best Resident Evil game in the entire franchise. Please do yourself a favor, pick this game up. It's available on pretty much anything under the sun. This game is a 10 out of 10. Well, there you have it. The list for this week's GameCube Collection Guide. And what a way to finish it off with Resident Evil 4. As always, leave that like, share, and subscribe. Please let everyone know what you're looking at, and we're trying to get to 1,500 subscribers. Let us know what you think. Leave a comment below. And I'm Anthony. See you guys next time here at Star Flag Media.